All right. So what's going on there, folks? It is the Earthmaster back here on this Sunday. It is June 4th, 2023, about 11:09 a.m. here along the West Coast in the state of California. And latest earthquake activity here on the globe. Let's see what we got here. 1.5 into the West Coast region. Let's see here. Last 24 hours up on the globe. Let's go ahead and see what's going on here along the West Coast. We did have some activity out into the Pacific here, just off the coast of Santa Barbara, into the Santa Barbara Channel. 3.1 coming in just a couple hours ago. There's kind of been a little uptick pattern here across the state of Southern California, or across the state here in the southern portion of California. We did have some activity just off the Elsinore fault system as well last night. That one was a 3.4, so little enhancement of earthquake movement out here across the state. Southern portion of the state, a little bit of activity here in the Brawley seismic zone as well. No major swarming, just a very small amount of microquake activity. Most of this was about 3 or 4 in the morning. Continue to watch that, though, for some activity. Got one earthquake here, 1.2 near Colton, California, coming in, it looks like. Let's see. So just an overall slight uptick here across southern Cal. Once we get up here into the central portion of the state, it's kind of weird. My light was blinking here. I got a little lamp right next to my computer here, and it was just flashing all of a sudden. Really weird. I just put a bulb in that too, so I'm not for sure what's going on. In fact, it's that light, and my kitchen light last night was blinking as well. A little odd activity going on here in the Earthmaster house. Northern California and Nevada, a lot of this activity from yesterday. Haven't really seen any further uptick here across a swarming area in Reno, or just outside of Reno. The latest quake looks like some movement back here in the Lake Almanor region. It's been a little heightened area of activity as well. An overall pattern, I think, of some stress out here along the North American plate. Even though we really haven't seen too much along the San Andreas Fault, doesn't necessarily mean, that there isn't some stress being built up here. Just kind of locking up here and accumulating some stress within inward motion here, or momentum, so to speak, of earthquake activity in certain areas. Let's see, around the Clear Lake volcanic field, this area has definitely been showing some uptick in activity. Of course, they did have a 4-pointer, and it's been over 24 hours or so. A couple days ago in this area, 4.5. Of course, this is the Clear Lake volcanic field. Obviously, there is stuff going on below the ground, right? It's a very active area, but a lot of these earthquakes are created by the process that's involved here with the clean energy, so to speak, clean. They're at the Calpine hydrothermal operations, and I still think they're the ones that are running the show down there. I was down here a couple years ago. I'll probably get down there, hopefully. I don't know when. I've had a pretty busy past year or so with school, kids, the channel, everything else going on here. Storm chasing. So I'm not for sure when I'm going to get down there. Look at that. Those two earthquakes right there at the plant. We're underneath the plant. But either way, there's a good, 10 or 15 of these hydrothermal plants, maybe more, that are in the process of creating energy, but also at the same time earthquake activity. One lonesome earthquake up here in the Newberry volcano. Nothing big, just a little 0.1. Underneath the lake, it looks like. Could have something to do with the snow melt, water accumulation there. Let's see, Mount St. Helens as well, 0.5. Just south here of the summit. No major swarms to speak of across the area. Tremor last night in this region consisted, let me double check, make sure we got the most recent map. This is from yesterday. Still an ongoing sequence here of tremor. I don't think, this isn't a major tremor event yet. It looks like this began back on the 21st or so of May. And we've seen a little bit of activity with a total accumulation of, almost 5,000 tremors. So that amount is kind of it's surpassing the previous tremor event, which was actually very minimal earlier back in April, as you can see there. Had a couple weeks of tremor, so we're above that level with the line up here on the graph, but not compared to events past. As you can see there, a lot of those events with the lines way up there are the counts, the total counts of tremor, and I think we're kind of overdue. There was a little period back in looks like 2020. I think we're past that in terms of time frame. More so maybe back in 2018 to 2020. Looks like there was a slow amount of tremor. I mean, there was obviously tremor, but there wasn't quite as uptick as what we've come to know, right, in far as regular patterns go. So we'll just continue to watch that, see how this event plays out. All right, getting back to earthquake activity across the Intermountain West areas. Very minimal movement, not a whole lot going on out here. Just a couple smaller quakes across Idaho. The Yellowstone thumbnails here. Let's bring these up. The latest information. I'm not for sure what this is up here around Mammoth Vault. Looks like some type of interference or malfunction, more is the word. As far as earthquake activity goes, there's not a whole lot going on here across Yellowstone. I mean, we can key up anything, and as you can see, very minimal earthquake activity. Got one earthquake out here, and maybe my future home state here of Kansas. Not for sure which part of Kansas I'm looking at yet, or maybe Nebraska. 3.2 out there near Lincolnville, Kansas. That one coming in earlier this morning, about 7 o'clock or so my time. Let's see what we got for fault systems. There's obviously faults out here. The Flint Hills, Red Hills, Smoky Hills. USGS only showing where the major seismically hazardous zones are on the map, but there's definitely some fault systems out there. As far as any oil pumping operations go, I'm not for sure. So let's take a look. It kind of looks like it's around some creek or river. Not really seeing any pumping operations out there. Just a little 3.2 near the Lincolnville, Kansas area, about 4 kilometers deep. Appalachian Mountains here. Got an earthquake early this morning, it looks like, about 3 o'clock or so, near Canton, North Carolina. That one coming in about 2.9 kilometers deep for a 3.2. This area has shown a little bit of heightened movement here over the past couple weeks, but nothing big. Again, fault systems do exist out there on the East Coast and the eastern portion of the country. So let's see what else we got here going on in the Alaska area. We were watching a swarm of movement here across the Aleutian Trench. That looks like it has died off here for the most part. Seeing if we got any noticeable uptick here inland. Of course, around the Trident Volcano. Let's see exactly where this is at. Trident Volcano area. And these other mounts over here, mountain ranges, Mount Martin. Showing some smaller microquake activity. This has been kind of a sequence of earthquakes here over the last few months or so across the region. No uptick in volcanic activity, just earthquake movement there. Rest of Alaska, mostly smaller microquakes across the region. Not seeing anything major going on. The Western Pacific here, a couple earthquakes near Tokyo. And also into the Japan Trench, it looks like 4.5, excuse me, 35 kilometers deep into this area of the Japan Trench. Slight uptick here that we've seen over the last couple days. Kuril-Kamchatka Trench still remains quiet, with an occasional 4 here and there, but no mega quake yet. Definitely, I believe there's enough stress built up there for that. Around the Indonesia area and the Java Trench, we do have a 4.4 at the southern end here of the Java Trench. Let's see if USGS is reporting that. Looks like they are. About 7 o'clock this morning, 42 kilometers deep into the trench area. Some deeper movement taking place here. North Maluka Sea area, 104 kilometers deep for a 4.9. That was this morning as well. Deeper movement, of course, should amplify the earthquake activity out here throughout the hours and coming days, as far as surface adjustments go. Back over around the Tonga area, let's see if we got anything new today. A lot of this was from yesterday. We had some pretty deep movement. Still got one deep earthquake activity here. Yeah, definitely further down, at least in this area, compared to the Cascadia. When you go left here on the map, the deeper you get into the subduction zone, which is the Kermadec Trench, Tonga Trench area. This is a major player for stress built up. Yesterday we had a 4.4 with a little bit of surface adjustment upstream, but along the plate boundary. And then today, this morning, we got a 4.6 further down into the trench at 490 kilometers deep. So definitely some adjustment taking place here across this area. Prior to that, most of this movement here from yesterday, but we'll continue to watch that with this back and forth deep and shallow earthquake activity. Across the GeoNet servers here, let's see what we got for earthquakes. Didn't notice too much there on the globe. A couple smaller quakes there, but again, this is all typical along a major plate boundary. All magnitudes map here. This will show even the smaller microquakes, and that's basically what I'm seeing here over the last hour or so. Look at the earthquake drums will give us a good indicator of any broad scale earthquake activity taking place out here, or any swarms. I just don't see it. Not a whole lot going on. There's that this kind of looks like it's down around the South Island area, extreme South Island. Let's see what we got down here. Is that not going to be the 3.3 because that's further up north? Let's see here. When was this? That was May 18th. Doesn't look like it's a bigger earthquake here, but it was a couple hours ago. I'm kind of curious about that. Maybe they haven't got it yet. Looks like it's at least a 3-pointer. Maybe this, well, that's along the Kermadec Trench. That's a little odd here. I'm not seeing that quake. All right, we'll check back on that a little bit later here. It looks like some movement around the South Island area. Nothing big, just a little earthquake showing up there on the drums. All right, let's see what else we have here across the region. Movement out into the Red Sea area and also the Gulf of Aden again. This area has seen quite a bit of swarming here over the last couple days. Today, the last 24 hours, it looks like the last one was a 4.6 within that same area. And we've seen a pretty good amount of activity here over the last 7 days or so. Most of that, I would say, over the last couple days, with a 16 count of well, somewhat moderate earthquakes out here. A bunch of 4s and mid 5s. We even did have an upper 5.9 into this area. It is a divergent boundary, but I don't know. Maybe that's it, and the earthquake activity momentum should shift. If you really think about it, as far as the plate boundaries go, and the general plate movement in the world of plate tectonics, here we are. Got this area, Red Sea separation here. A little bit of activity here as well, where the earthquake activity goes, or is going right now in the divergent boundaries. With the overall trend, though, of all the plates kind of moving off towards the northeast here. That's a general plate dynamic for this area. Should watch for some further movement, again, upstream. Well, up here in this region, I would say. What's this earthquake? Western Iran, that was from last night, a 4.5. Alrighty, well, we'll continue to watch this area. Far as smaller quakes go across the region, yeah, there's some. Looks like some 2s building up here across the Mediterranean. A couple other smaller quakes here to the west, and of course Turkey area. Seen some earthquake activity as expected. South America, 3.7 coming into the Chile area, it looks like right now. This region has shown a noticeable increase in earthquake activity as well. A lot more taking place here than what's shown on the map, obviously. USGS only showing 4.0 and above for the international communities. Last one here being reported was a 4.2, but overall seismic activity has been elevated here across the Peru-Chile Trench, including that 3.7 that's just coming in. Looks somewhat deep. See what that is. 106 kilometers deep here for that 3.7. Middle America Trench area showing some movement as well. Puerto Rico area not super busy. Slight uptick it looks like there today. Let's see what we got. Hawaii. Let's check out Hawaii here and see what's cooking out here. On the beautiful island, big island here, still seeing movement around the Kilauea volcano, although it looks like it's taken a little pause. This would probably be day number 2 of the lack of a lot of earthquake activity. It's just been very minor. In fact, the last one was about 4 o'clock this morning. But I do want to double check that. You know, not saying I don't trust the USGS with regards to their reporting, just sometimes they don't include all the updates as far as earthquake activity goes. The latest Kilauea volcano update is put out yesterday. That was basically letting us know that the volcano is currently not erupting and just elevated seismicity. Let me go check out the seismograph stations here and see what we have for data. Yep. There we go. Bring this one up here. There's many different seismograph stations you can check, monitor. Some working, some not. Here's the last 12 hours of earthquake activity around the vicinity of Kilauea volcano. And notice there's definitely a drop-off here of the multitude of quakes compared to when the swarm's really kicking up there across Kilauea volcano. So, but don't let your guard down. I think these little pauses are just that. They're little pauses in seismicity, little pause in deflationary or inflationary tilt. I think we're currently in the deflationary level. Let me see here. This is the last 2 days. Notice a drop off here in the inflationary. So deflation of the summit level. Slight increase there, it looks like overnight, but then we're back down again. So when this thing really kicks up, when we start to see this inflate on the tilt meter, that's when the earthquake swarms kick up. And that's obviously right. If you think about it, magma underneath the surface, moving around, maybe trying to find some ways up to the surface, or it could just be volcanic gases building up as well. Either way, elevated tilt, elevated earthquake activity during that tilt. A sign of volcanic unrest. Currently not erupting, but just I think we are going to see that kick up here soon. Let me bring back up the tilt meter here. This is an overall graph here since about the 6th of May. Obviously, as you can see, we've plateaued off here a little bit with the inflationary tilt at the tilt meter there around the summit, but an overall trend of elevated seismic activity and also inflationary levels there at the summit of Kilauea volcano. This is the uptrend showing swelling. But again, we've plateaued off a little bit here. We'll see where this goes in the days ahead. All right, let's see what else we have across the area. Let's check out space weather. See what's going on out here on the sun. Anything cooking? Looks like a little bit of flaring coming in right now currently from, well, right here. Notice a little, I don't know why my mouse has been doing that. All of a sudden it will just jump off to the left side of the screen. A little odd. But a little bit of activity, it looks like. A little sea flare activity coming from this regional sunspot that is facing us. And that is going to be 33... Is it 23 or 3321? See, now there's a couple here. This is the most recent. I think it's going to be this sunspot that we've been kind of watching. This one doesn't look all that impressive. Yeah, so there's the one that's not impressive. Here's the one that is a fairly complex structure. And I've been watching it over the past couple days. It was more complex, 3323. Little bit of disorganization here in the cores of the magnetic structure of the sunspot, but looks like it may be starting to grow a little bit further, maybe get a little bit more unstable. We'll watch this because this is pretty much center disk here of the sun, very close, and will be lined up with the Earth-Sun plane very soon. Well, it is, but it will be directly facing Earth here in the coming hours, in a day or so. So we'll continue to watch that. Anything that does blast off from this spot will be geo-effective. A little bit of activity down here as well in the southeastern limb. A little bit better view of that today. Looks a little complex. Unnamed, currently unnamed. This was from last night. Notice how it's a little bit more visible today. You can see the dynamics of that sunspot pretty nicely. We'll continue to watch that. Overall threat right now, 99% chance for a C flare. M flare at 35. Looks like 10% chance for an X flare. Proton event around 10% as well. Not really seeing any major coronal holes, at least at the Earth. So the 3-day geomagnetic forecast will be green with very minimal green in the sky at the higher regions there, the polar regions. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people love to see some auroras back into the forecast, but doesn't look likely, at least for now. Weather activity here today across the country. Well, it's going to be hot here in California, obviously. And let's see, is it working? Hopefully. Are we online? Yes, we are. Looks like Storm Prediction Center looks like it may be offline. Everything else is working except for the Storm Prediction Center. What's going on there? So it looks like they're offline for now, which is rather odd. Either way, a little bit of thunderstorm activity out here across the regions in the green. Not a whole lot for the West Coast. This is just a GFS model showing potential precipitation rates out here. It gives you a good indicator where some moisture is. I don't think we're looking at anything severe today. Just some rain showers, thunderstorms out there. Maybe some thunderstorms out here in the valley or in the mountains here of the California area. All right, folks, I'm going to jump off here. Hope everyone has a good day. And there we go. Took them a little while to jump on. Not for sure why. They're a little slow, but there's the forecast. You can see in the light green some thunderstorms out there. Nothing severe. Only very marginal risk here of some severe weather, but that's about it. All right, folks. Hope everyone has a great day out there and enjoy their weekend. Last day, right, of the weekend. I think I'm going to do a little bit of swimming today, considering it's going to be about 97 degrees here where I live. A little bit of cool down coming up as we head into the coming week. It's supposed to be back down into the mid 80s, which is still actually kind of cool for this area for this time of year. We could easily be well above 100. I'm not even joking. Everyone that lives and knows the Sacramento Valley out here can get hot early in the year. We still got a whole month of June and July and August and September for potential 100-degree temperatures. We'll catch you guys back here a little bit later tonight, folks. Have a good one. Peace out.